HOAs are among the few entities in this day and age that can give even the ADA the finger and totally get away with it. It's a masterclass in bureaucratic spite. It's interesting the one I am in, while they choose not to enforce many of its daytime parking restrictions, they are gustable about anyone daring to park by the curb at night. I always wonder why. They never really gave a reason for it. It's like they just enjoy the power of the late-night citation. The other two rules they enforce are vehicles with commercial markings on driveways or parked greater than the builder design for driveways, even if side by side. And not encouraging the sidewalk, which they also only enforce at night. It's a highly selective enforcement system, if I ever saw one. They used to give visitors exemptions, but not anymore. Apparently, some of the 16% said those exemptions had been abused by one or two households. The worst part is how narrow these driveways are and not really allowed to expand too much. It's a physical impossibility for modern life. Many accessible vans cannot park in these driveways, obviously those marked ones are forbidden altogether by the bylaws. And they refuse to grant an exemption to allow them to park curbside, even when the driveways were clearly insufficient. And so, residents have to park half a mile out of the neighborhood, on some dangerously non-residential street. I'm pretty surprised in the modern era of handicapped rights and advocacy that this situation is allowed. It's not just impractical, it's actively dangerous. This is added to impractical garages and driveways that simply cannot be expanded or modified by the residents themselves. Why is the interesting part when a group home business tried to move in? Apparently, the lawyers determined they couldn't block them pursuant to the Fair Housing Act. Despite the bylaws against commercial businesses in a residential zone, the legal protections were undeniable. However, the HOAs didn't have to accommodate by structure or driveway modifications, nor allow accessible vans or others to park on the street. The driveways are so narrow and steep that maneuvering a wheelchair with parked vehicles on them is pretty much impossible. I do know that ADA or equivalent handicapped rights movements doesn't apply to residential properties, maybe except for large multifamily APTs/condos. But in today's climate of handicapped rights, one would think builders would at least make homes more practical or more easily converted. Or allow simple accommodations such as allowing widening of the driveway or walkway at the resident's own expense. Or allowing parking by the curb that would allow daytime parking, not fire lanes, mind you. I personally don't support operating a commercial group home within a single-family zoned community, that much is true. But not allowing accommodation for single families that have family members in need seems profoundly out of place today. It's a frustrating, exhausting battle against the arbitrary power of committee votes. And that's how the group home and another private home with a wheelchair-bound resident eventually moved away because of this exact bureaucratic nightmare. It's a reminder that while rules are necessary, they should never become an active barrier to human dignity or basic mobility. We are governed not by common sense or human need, but by laminated covenants and committee whim. And until we change how these rules are written, life in suburbia will remain a performance art piece titled The Struggle for Curb Space. Remember, even in the most perfectly manicured lawns, there are people with real, physical needs that matter more than perfect curb appeal. And that, my friends, is the true tragedy of modern suburban living.